what slaves experienced on the plantation is passed down onto your genetically.
No, they jumped, bro. They jumped over all these free black people,
Right.
to go back to slavery. I don't understand. Like when you talk about the people, Madam C.J. Walker and some of these people who were highly successful after slavery, Frederick Douglass. I mean, you go down the list, Booker T. Washington, all these men and women who were highly successful after slavery, built stuff. The Black Harlem in Tulsa. You got I forget the Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance. You go down the list of all this black success. I didn't even know that when Rosa Parks sat in the back of the bus, or she refused to sit in the back of the bus, that the black people had a bus line already. They were doing the same thing that Black Lives Matter is doing today. They would stage these controversial situations to get an agenda passed. I didn't know black people already had their own bus.
I didn't know that either.
Here's another thing.
They wanted the white bus today is better.
Right. Just like you can see them, they talk about it when they integrated schools. I forget the young lady. I should be ashamed of myself. It's the young girl that was escorted by the National Guard to school in Little Rock. Little Rock.
Yeah, don't feel bad. I forget.
Yeah, I forget. Now I got Google. I can look it up. Yeah. But the young girl in Little Rock, so she's a grown woman now. She gave her testimony how she used to be at a black school, and then she was suggested to go in the integrated school. They had black schools and black teachers that could teach black curriculum. But instead, they were trying to go to white schools and integrate in white schools, and then they mad because their history is not replicated. So, these things, to me, and even Harriet Tubman, people never, I took Africana Studies in college, and I didn't know this until more recently. I did not know Harriet Tubman was married. Did you know she was married? Did you know her husband?
Somebody actually married her? The pictures I saw her, she was so up. She looked crazy in those pictures.
So she was married. People think she was out on the plantation, get beat over the head, and then one night she just snuck out. That's not what happened. She was married to a black man who was free. He was a free man. They lived together.
What?
Yes, they lived together. You can look it up. Do the research. Her husband was free. She had a job. Now, her husband did not agree with her to start the Underground Railroad. So she decided to do it anyway. Thank God she did. I thought it was an honorable thing to do. But they don't tell the story about her real life. They don't talk about the fact that the first black slave owner in American history, legal slave owner, was Anthony Johnson, a black man. They don't talk about the fact that hundreds of black men owned black slaves. They also don't talk about the fact that in the past, voting was based on property ownership or land ownership. And a lot of black people owned land and some white people didn't. And so black people could vote when white people couldn't. And then, of course, they removed the rights for blacks to vote and then gave it back. So people like this idiot that act like she know what happened on a plantation. They couldn't laugh on a plantation. So they act like she know, like she was there. They laugh and they go, I didn't whoop them. You can't be laughing while you working. I don't know if that happened like that. And there was different slaves, man. Everybody wasn't out on the plantation. There was the house Negro. Then there were slaves that were like servants. They would drive. They were chauffeurs. They would drive around and do things like that. Of course, slavery was a horrible thing. And there were slave owners that abused their slaves. But there were some that didn't abuse their slaves because they needed them to work. They went out and auctioned and paid all that money for them. They ain't just beat them. They can't work. So it was a plethora of different experiences that occurred. But this idiot probably making a ton of money.
She claiming she don't make enough money because she's black.
These people. This is what's wrong with with black people.
I know.
Two things. One is unforgiveness. Because I'm a big believer in forgiving people. And the black community has never forgiven white people from slavery. They still hold on to that. White people that moved on. Everybody else that moved. Mexicans moved on. Chinese people that moved on. Jews that moved on. Black people still holding on to that.
Only people talking about it is black people.
Only people still complaining. We live in the greatest country on planet Earth, bro. You can't look at us, man. We black and we successful. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it, and everything ain't gonna work. Everybody ain't gonna be a billionaire.
I think life is based on relationships. That's the biggest thing about life, man. If you can build relationships, you can have a successful life. Without relationships, you can't do anything. I don't care what you know. That's why we became so successful with relationships. And you got to have a work ethic.
You got to have an objective perception of the world too. You looking through a racist lens, you are screwed. Because I lived like that. Because we voted Democrat. I voted for Al Gore.
Voted for Clinton.
I remember standing in line voting for Al Gore. I was waiting like 2 hours because I thought Bush was racist. That's the only reason why I was voting. That's the only reason.
And I remember we got there, right? They say, you got an ID? See, he asked for ID. Because I'm black.
He knows who I'm voting for.
He knows who I'm voting for. I don't blame him now. Looking back on it. Look at this.
But see, I don't think that y'all crazy or stupid or ignorant for doing it. It's just that brainwashing. That's why it take people like us to like get the word out there, even with a comedic relief, you know, to get people in tune. Because I used to follow y'all before y'all were political.